Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Curfew Boys. If you guys like what you hear, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and now YouTube. If you like to see our pretty faces, we're live on YouTube. Guys, if you like our content, oh yeah, fuck it.
See, there's try number one. You're so close.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
All right, let me start on 3. Every time I fucking host, it's like 3 takes. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Curfew Boys. If you like what you hear, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and any podcast platform you have. If you like our content, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you like to see our pretty faces, we are now on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's episode, I'm your host, Anxious Anthony, and with me I got Statman Joe.
Hey now.
We got GQ Chris. And we
Hey
have
now.
someone special tonight. We have an old friend of ours. We got Angelo Facciabene. What's up, Angelo?
Hey guys,
Welcome
how's
to
it
the
going? Thanks
show.
for having me.
Thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to hearing your perspective of our dear Montreal Canadiens this year. But before we speak about the Montreal Canadiens, I want to let something out. Before I do say what I want to say, I'm just going to add a bit of context. I see Joey smiling over there. So
Can't wait.
I just want to, you guys all know my relationship with Joey. You know, we've known each other for a really long time, and we like to pick on each other here and there. But there's one thing that Joey and I have since our college days, basically. So we used to play cards a lot, and you know, the degenerate gambling here and there when we play Scala, we play Brisk, and there's something I hate about Joey. This guy has the biggest
Oh
horse
yeah.
up his
I
ass.
know he's
Okay?
talking about.
So it's not about talent. It's just this guy is the luckiest guy. You want to bet with this guy, no matter what, on anything, this guy's gonna win. That it is what it is. Joey just has this thing. Ask any of our
You can
friends.
call me skilled. I mean that.
I
that
mean,
will-
we'll talk
part
about
of it.
skill another time, but I think this guy just has a horseshoe up his ass. That being said, we're we're in our first ever fantasy football this year, and he's in our league, and of course he's fucking first place again. Fucking luck, because every time there's gambling with Joey. Speaking of that, Joey, you should bet on the Montreal Canadiens to lose every game this season. You might actually win, and
That's
you could
true.
be
I
last
want
place,
bottom
right?
3, so
So, anyways, you never know, right? But anyways, all this to say, Joey's in first place in our pool. And if you guys know fantasy football, you play head to head week over week. And last weekend it was Joey against me. Now, in fantasy football, they have a projection before the weekend starts. And I was actually projected to win, right? And I'm like, and I remember telling this to my wife. I'm like, I'm projected to win this, but knowing Joey's going to find a way to fucking win. Okay. So I'm projected to win 135 to 101. This is the beginning of Thursday night. Sunday afternoon, I'm still projected to win. His score is going down to like 98 projection, and I'm still at the 125, 130. Out of nowhere, the 4 o'clock games hit, and Joey has 2 special players that hit 40 points, and now he's projected to freaking win from 99 projection to 145, and I dropped to 120. I'm like, for God fucking sakes, this guy has to find a way to win and beat me once again. All this to say, Monday night came, and I beat Joey for the first time in my entire life. I can say I beat
congrats.
Joey on something. So, anyways, I just want to let that out.
Side note: I was missing my first overall pick, and I had 3 injuries. So
Okay,
I
excuses.
picked the guy off waivers, and he got me 30 points. That's skill. I tried my best.
Excuses. I beat Joey. That's it. That's all. Now let's talk about the Montreal
Congratulations.
Canadiens. Let's talk about the Montreal Canadiens. Guys, we're 10 games in. I want to hear, the good and the bad. I know we keep saying we want them to lose, and it's going to be a long season because even yesterday, this morning, the first thing Sammy wrote was Habs lost, Florida lost. It's a good night. I'm like, but we're not even we just started November. We still have 7 months left of this season. If we're going to look at the standings now, it's going to be a long, long year. But I get it. We want to lose, and we want to accumulate not to accumulate too many points so we can get the top 10 draft picks. But I want to hear your thoughts. Joey.
Yes.
I mean, what do you think about last night's game first?
You know what? I wasn't here for the St. Louis game, and I hate when they win. Everybody knows that by now, but they actually played very well, and I was happy to see how they played. They played a speed game, and we were just talking about this before we started the episode. They played a speed game, and they continue this. I know they lost 4-1 against Minnesota. It didn't look, I mean, for people who actually watched the game, it didn't look like they were badly outplayed. They had a bad second period, sure, but I mean, in hockey, no one ever plays a full 60 unless, you're one of the top contending teams, but they played with speed. And I thought they played well in transition, and they didn't look out of place, especially against a team they lost. I think it was 8 straight. So another nice goal from Suzuki set up on the power play. I'm really starting to get more impressed with Doc, and I'm actually getting impressed with how their power play is. Suzuki's not impressed me anymore because he is what he is, and he's just that good. And same with Caulfield. So, I mean, Caulfield has 7 goals, and I think he's tied for, I think he's third because there's a few guys at 8. I mean, those guys are just keep progressing, and the kids are playing better. So they had a decent game. I'm glad they lost, but I think they played well and they weren't outplayed. So that's my take on it, and I want to see that for the rest of the season. And I hope we keep losing, but losing playing entertaining hockey.
Well, speaking of what, I mean, I want to hear Angelo's perspective since he's new on the show. I want to hear what, I mean, of course, Joey just said it. He wants them to lose. Every
Yeah.
episode, Chris and I said we want to lose. We want to hear what you want to see this season.
Well, not to necessarily see them lose or to see them win. They got to play the right way together and have something to work on moving forward. So that's what you're kind of seeing with St. Louis, what he's trying to instill, like some sort of system. He doesn't like to call it a system, but that transition game where it's almost a trap that you want to get the other team playing at your game because, especially right now with the deficiencies at D, it's very young, very inexperienced. You don't want to spend time in your zone. You want to get the puck out. You want to spend time more in their zone, make them transition. It's an easier game for your guys to play. So, like right now at this point, it's mostly the young guys playing. There's not a lot of vets, like guys like Drouin, and they're getting 12, 13 minutes a night. They're not really taking away the ice time from the young guys. So at this point, if you're still winning games, you're winning them with the young guys. It's not the vets that are carrying it, and you're kind of setting yourself back because you want to develop that winning culture. Because you look at teams like Edmonton that only now, after 10, 15 years, you're starting to see the fruits of the labor. You're the same thing with Buffalo. Like, they're kind of getting there. But you don't want to go through those dark 10, 15 years like in Arizona, for an example, So I don't mind winning, kind of like when Bergevin did his retool, where he got rid of all the vets and he kind of let the young guys play. And, we almost made the playoffs the first year. But what are you going to do? You're going to start trading all your young pieces. You got to play them. They're young. You still got rid of the vets and we still played well. So sometimes it's good to drop for a generational talent. Obviously, this is one of the deepest drafts since, I don't know, probably 03 they're calling it. So, yeah, it would be good to get a top 10 pick. I really don't see this team making the playoffs, but I don't think they're going to be not even close to as bad as last year, which is bottom of the barrel. I'd say more bottom 10, bottom 15 they'll finish than bottom 5.
And after watching this team, and just to touch on it, I actually have to agree. I don't think it's as bad as being bottom 3. Maybe we don't know yet, but the defense, the young defense, and the young forwards are progressing a little quicker than I expected, especially the core on defense with Gooley, Jacky, Harris, who's been impressing. Even Kovacevic hasn't been too bad, and we're still missing Matheson and Edmondson. They're going a little quicker than what I thought. Yes, I would like them to be at the bottom because, like Angelo said, it's going to be a deep draft, but it doesn't seem that way. And they're playing fun hockey. So the model I liked what I saw was Ottawa, where they were going the right way, but they were losing games. Like whether they win or lose, that's where they have to be going. And the young guys got to be the ones to play and have fun. And St. Louis starting to find an identity. I said I wanted to see more from St. Louis, and I think he's starting more and more to have some sort of identity or system, which, like Andrew said, doesn't call it really a system. So saw it against St. Louis, and I saw it against Minnesota as well. So we're trending towards the right direction.
Yeah, and just to say, like, you're seeing his influence now just with the power play since he like kind of took over the duties last week, and you're kind of seeing a different style, a lot more passing, a lot more movement, but at the same time not holding it and having that perimeter play, like 1-2 pass shoot, 1-2 pass shoot, recover, pick it up,
And
like
keep
there's a lot more
Slavkovsky,
happening.
yes, and keep Slavkovsky on the power play. It's been much more positive since he's been there, then he's been not. So
speaking of that, so I'm gonna ask Chris this question first. 10 games in, what surprised you? What is, I mean, I know it's still early, but let's start with the surprises. What surprised you, Chris, in the first 10 games? What are you seeing now that you didn't expect from the beginning? Or yeah,
I'm cheating and I'm going back to an answer that I gave last episode because it's by far the most surprising element, or the two surprising elements are David Savard and Sam Montembeault when he's got time in nets, because those guys I was expecting to perform so badly, yet I got to give credit where credit is due. David Savard has been making key blocks. He's been excellent on the penalty kill. The penalty kill has been a lot better than last year. That was a huge, huge, huge improvement, and I'm surprised. I don't like that tight box in front of the net. Right away when I saw it, I'm a believer. You attack the point, you pressure the guys on the point, you don't give them that time to shoot and set up. And for some reason, it's working. So I guess the penalty kill, David Savard, Sam Montembeault. But I don't want to say jokes aside, those were the most unexpected elements. But I think it's just the number of young guys that are carrying the team and the number of veterans that are completely, I don't want to say useless, but ineffective. I looked like when Suzuki scored yesterday, obviously we're happy. That's exactly what we said we wanted to see. We wanted to see the young, talented guys put up points. So I was very happy when I saw that puck go in the net. But a few seconds later, Gallagher had a breakaway, and you're like, okay, this could completely change the outcome of the game. 3-2. Could they come back? Gallagher gets the breakaway, and he
Sink
does
shot,
what
sink shot.
recent Gallagher does, and he completely screwed it up. And I was like, okay, that's the game. We lost. That's fine. But again, we're trying to balance that. We have to lose the season, but there's always that excitement of holy, like, okay, they could come back in the game, they could win. And when Gallagher did that, it's just to go back to your initial question. It's just amazing how many times a game we look at the veterans not contributing, not being able to do anything. And then a few seconds later, you have a rookie, whether it be on defense or on offense, doing something that we didn't expect them to be doing for another 2 to 3 seasons. So I guess that in a nutshell is it's just all the guys that we didn't expect to be doing great stuff are doing great stuff, and all the guys that we should be expecting to be doing the great stuff are underwhelming.
well, I mean, well said, and I'll say the same thing in many words. But to me, what's surprising me, and it's not it's a big surprise. It's just surprising how early it started. Now, look, Suzuki and Caulfield are killing it, and we said it at the beginning, our first episode. We had predicted who's going to hit 31st. Is there going to be any 30-goal scorers, et cetera, et cetera. I know it's still early, and they can go on a slump very soon, but usually for young kids, the slump starts early, and then they start progressing because the experience kicks in and they get more, involved. But it's 10 games in, and I think they're projected at this point to get. They're both projected, Suzuki and Caulfield, to have an 80-point season. If they continue this route, they're putting points every single game
our
since
first
day
since
one.
Kovalev. That's how long it's been.
But that's the thing. Like, I know it's still early to talk about it, but at this rate, this so early in, that's what surprised me of how fast they started. Another thing that surprised me too is, we always say it, and we said it last year too, Joey and Chris. Remember I used to scream, "Let the kids play, let the kids play." They're finally doing that. They're fine, like saying, like you said before, the veterans are not playing as much. They're not performing as much because you're seeing the Drouin and the vets playing 12, 13 minutes a game, and you're seeing the young players hitting those 20 minutes. I'm really happy to see that. And then, like Angelo said at the beginning, they're trying to build that winning culture. Even though it's not the year we want to make the playoffs, they're starting to get that winning culture in their mindset right now. Now, like what I said last time I spoke in the episode was, I think they're all excited. They're all young. They have a lot of energy. The inexperience is going to kick in very soon, I hope. Only for the losing, right? Not that I want the inexperience to kick in because I don't want them to perform. Is I think right now the reason why we see them playing so well is because they're excited. They're having fun. That's the one thing that I think that's my view on the identity that St. Louis wants for this team is go out there and have fun. And eventually, more traveling, more late games when we start playing the West, more games kicking in for these young players. I think the inexperience is going to kick in, and that's when they're going to start dropping. But you never know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem with the team all year is on the road, especially if they're a small team. They could just get smothered. There's just those games where nothing's going to happen. The other team's going to control. They're going to get the line matches. So it's something you have to expect exactly as the season goes on.
And what surprises you at this stage right now, Angelo?
I thought they would be really putrid defensively, to be honest. Like I thought Gooley was going to be really good. Harris, judging from the games he played last year, I thought he was a step above all the other defensive prospects who are getting hyped about. But Jack is a bit of a revelation. I still think he could benefit from some time in Laval. We'll see once the lineup gets healthy, but that's another conversation for later. But yeah, just overall the team defense. Whenever I see a team with a with a defensive core that's like 23 and under, it's just gonna end up bad. And they've been holding their own. Savard stepped up a bit. Gooley, like I said, I really had confidence the way he played in junior last year. Every time I see him on the ice, he looked like he belonged, even at 20 years old, 19 years old. He probably could have made the team last year, to be honest. But because of the COVID and all this, they missed so much time. It was more beneficial from him going down. But that's mostly the defense. I thought the guys that are scoring are going to score. The guys that are struggling, pretty much struggling. I expect a bit more from Dandanov. I thought, wherever this guy went, he at least scored goals, but he loses every battle, barely makes a pass, no hustle, no effort. I think maybe I expected a bit more from him to at least have a bit more value to trade him further down the line.
Well, Joey, you can speak on that. I know you wanted to speak on Dandanov. What do you think is going on with this guy?
Yeah, look, they mentioned that he's had flu-like symptoms, but for days they've been speculating that Dandanov is either going to go on waivers or they're looking to trade him because I don't know if everybody knows Hughes has been reported that Edmondson is close to coming back, and if he comes back, they're going to cut a forward, not the defenseman. They want to keep all those defensemen, and I think this is a good indication that Slavkovsky's staying. He hasn't played his 9 games, but he's probably saying so. Dandanov might be the guy they might send down if they cannot trade him, or Pezzetta. But Dandanov lately, even he has said in an interview that he has to play better. And like Angelo mentioned, he hasn't won puck battles, can't make passes. And this wasn't the Dandanov that played last year. Maybe last year had a bit more support. They had better talent up front, but he's just not been the same player.
But everywhere he's played, he produced at least modestly. That's why it's like then you see him play here, and it's like what happened.
It's like Chris said. It's everyone forward wise besides. You know what? Besides one veteran, I'm going to be very surprised at who I'm going to say. Besides one guy who's actually, I'm not that I'm saying I'm wrong about, just he is turning a corner, is Dvorak. For some reason,
I was actually very scared you were going to say Gallagher for some reason.
No. Forget him. Dvorak would have more points if it wasn't for Gallagher. If you guys watched yesterday, he set him up on 2-3 golden opportunities, including the breakaway.
It was he waved one shot, he missed completely.
Yeah, he fanned on it to hit his skate.
Yeah, it's just anyways. But he's besides Dvorak, I say the other veterans, and that includes Dandanov, Hoffman, Drouin especially. They just haven't been keeping up with the young guys. It's just been such a step. Anderson's been kind of in the middle. He's been.
Well, he had 2 winning goals, right? In 10 games, he has 2 winning goals.
Yeah, he's been okay. He's not one of the worst.
I'm not worried about him.
The best.
Anderson, he's north-south. He shoots. Exactly. He's going to get you 20 to 25 goals and maybe 10 assists. That's just what he is. He gets you 20, it's a good season.
Not 30, right, Angelo? He's not going to get 30 goals.
Not on this team.
Interesting. Interesting, Angelo. I say
10
this
games,
because
10 games, 10
Because
games. Joy.
he,
That's-
sorry,
I say
No,
this.
I don't think he gets 30. I think he could get 30. I don't think this year.
I say this.
There's
Angelo,
an injury coming. You know what's gonna happen.
we have these friendly bets, Angelo. If you don't know from the beginning of the pod, that we some people, including Chris and Sam, predicted 3 30-goal scorers on the Hab, and one of them being Anderson.
I said
That's
two.
my save. And Anthony went with two, and I called them all delusional because there's only going to be one. It's going to be Caulfield.
I'm hitting
Maybe
two.
two
I'm
with
Suzuki
Suzuki.
and Caulfield. Suzuki
Yeah,
and
I
Caulfield.
think Suzuki.
That's
He's one of those
fine. But
sniping.
the third was going to be Anderson or Zook, and Sam predicted Gallagher, which I called them delusional right off the bat because I don't think it's
Well,
happening.
look, Joy, you know how much I hate Gallagher, but like I have to admit, he's having not having a good season, but he's definitely more engaged. He's faster. He makes better plays.
He is. I don't know who hates Gallagher more between me and you, but yes, I will agree that he is. He is more engaged, but the goals he scored so far, I digress.
That's what he's gonna score right now.
Yeah,
He's not gonna carry into the zone and snipe it. He was never that player, and
well, hold on
not
a second. Like, a question though for both of you, since you both hate Gallagher. I don't know if we asked this question already. Probably the Alzheimer's here at this age, but do you guys hate Gallagher as a player or his contract? There's a difference, or both.
It's tied in. To me, it's one thing. It's tied in. The player is part of the contract, and the fact that he makes $6.5 million and the way he scored goals, that's not I'm not going to say the successful way to score, but that's not how you can score 30 goals a year. You can't score 30 goals a year the way he scores. And if you're getting paid $6.5 million and you're considered a scorer,
we all know that contract came out of
right.
Look, the contract had to have been given. If it wasn't Bergevin, it was going to be another GM in the league. I'm 100% confident in saying that. But the thing with Gallagher, and it was prior to his injury, is just like, players are players, they're humans, this, that, whatever. But in the end, when you're managing a team, you have to look at them as an asset. And this guy just put himself through hell. Like, did you even look at that shift yesterday where he was taking a beating? He was getting cross-checked left and right. Yeah. Spurgeon interfered with in the middle of the ice. Like, that's his whole career without getting calls. You know, he got the goals, the greasy goals. Then the two broken hands. Like, you know, after he came back, and I think he had like his first 30-goal season, and then the second one, like, as a asset manager, you should be like selling right there. Like Bergevin got too attached to the emotional Gallagher player, the potential future captain, and all that. And that's when they had to sell high. Because now, when he was at 3.3, amazing. He lived out that contract. He couldn't ask for better. He got a 30-goal scorer for 3 seasons, even 20, 25 his other seasons. Like, you got a huge bang for your buck. But then now you're getting his worst years at his highest price.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was gonna, Joey and Angelo. I'm not gonna throw my towel into the ring, or I'm not gonna throw my card into the ring and fight you for Gallagher hatred title, but for the Gallagher hatred title. But I've evidently bashed Gallagher a significant amount of times here on the show, and I think, going back to Anthony's original question, is it the contract or is it the player? Back in the day, Gallagher was a little bit of a shit disturber, but he was getting those goals. So you remember a few games ago when they played Minnesota, he had his helmet flicked off and he's yelling at the ref and he's going back to the bench, and it's somewhat of a scene on the ice. At least back then you were able to say, okay, look, this guy, we're counting on this guy to score goals. He is in fact producing. He's important to our team. He is that spark, but he's far from that spark. He's a distraction at this point in time. So not only is he a financial liability for this team, he is a liability on the ice more and more because he can't produce, and he's still attracting that same distracting
and
fucking play. Pardon my French.
He doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. It's been his whole career. He never got a better rapport with the refs. Like, we're not going to get the call. Like, you just, like, I don't know. That's why I thought he should never be captain, because you have to be, like, a bit more respectful.
Have the maturity as a captain. He had the heart as a captain, but not the maturity level of a captain.
Yeah, exactly. I would say, the maturity and
he was
on the ice.
complaining. Yeah, he complained a lot. Like what did it for me was that penalty when he was on the bench. That to me is what took it over the top. I'll never forget last year's penalty.
Yeah, that you catch in beer league ball hockey and RDP, and it shouldn't happen in NHL.
Exactly. Fair point. But that's what it is on Gallagher. Every time I come on the show, I always make
we have to bring up a Gallagher topic every single episode.
I will say, Anthony, surprisingly, I'm sorry I didn't mention him, but a vet besides Dvorak that's been doing okay. Actually, there's been a surprise. Doesn't mean he's been like crazy amazing, but he's surprised a bit given his injuries. He's come back to play well, and he's keeping his value for trade deadline. It's actually Sean Monahan. So I'll give a small shout out to him for all the injuries he's went through between his hips, his wrists. He went through a lot, and he looked really bad in Calgary. And when we took him, I'm like, okay, we're taking him to get a first rounder. But now I said, holy shit, we got him with the first rounder to take that contract. That's not too bad. If we trade him for a good asset and he plays the way he does all year, I'd love to sign him at maybe half his deal over the summer. So another shout out to Monahan. I thought he's been doing pretty well for the first 10 games.
Well, speaking of 10 games, sorry, Chris?
I just said agreed with Joey.
Okay. Speaking of 10 games, I mean, it's safe to say the rookies are staying. Do you guys think that?
I think Jack Guy might go down once both are healthy, if there's no other injuries.
One is going to be a forward, and one's going to be maybe Jack Guy or defenseman.
Yeah, because Kova, Chich, whatever, he's pretty good. Like
I like him.
He carries the puck, he moves it up, he makes good reads, he wins those 50-50 battles. Nothing too flashy, kind of like a Kulak, but bigger and more physical. Nothing flashy, but gets a job done.
Is he our Pitlick of the year, like the gem we find on waivers?
Actually, speaking of disappointments, you brought up Pitlick. That's one of the big disappointments also. He looks slow. He looks like I don't know, he's playing injured or something because he's not as quick as last year.
I agree. And I think it might be because of injury, because it's definitely not because of age. So
no, he's still relatively young, But yeah, he could be like the not steal waiver pickup, but a nice solid player that you can have on your team for the next 3-4 years, and he fills in that 6-7.
Yeah, we seem to find one of those every year on waivers, or once every couple of years at least. We seem to always find those.
Usually it's around it's those players you don't want to cut, but you have no choice, and they have no value because every team knows you're going to put them on waivers. So every team has one or two of those players. Like, people were scared we were going to lose Pizzetta.
I don't buy it.
He's been like that was the thing. Skate. We had him around. Yeah, he hasn't been skating the same way. He hasn't been hitting. He hasn't been fighting. That's why he was here. He was that element last year. Jack Eye is doing that now. Going back to what Anthony was asking before, I think Jack Eye has been making worse passes as the season has kind of progressed. Unfortunately, those first games, he seemed very poised. He seemed to have time on the puck. He was making great passes, seeing the game better. But in the past 2-3 games, he's been a little underwhelming.
Yeah, but it takes 3-4 games for the NHL to adjust, because then they're gonna watch one game of footage. Okay, just pressure this guy. He handles the puck like a grenade. He's gonna turn it over. That's exactly what's been happening. He has to handle the pressure, and that's why I think he would benefit from the AHL, because he has a bit of offensive upside in his game, which I think he can develop over there more than in the NHL. But the argument to keep him is because we don't have anyone with that physicality.
I loved what he did at the end of the game yesterday. I'm not saying, by the way, Slavkovsky, you have to stay strong on your skates. You can't stand up at the guy's height. You can't stand up on your skates straight. Like, you just become a tower asking to be pushed over. But I'll say this much: I still love the fact, I can't take it away, to see him go up to Rossi and just toss him around, kind of. Just send a little bit of a message, regardless, you're not going to get away with that. So, yeah.
So, I mean, another thing that I noticed, and I'm sure I don't know what it is this year, but again, I'm so excited to see this team develop. And from what I'm seeing on the ice right now, which we haven't seen in a really long time, and I think if we would have seen this back in the year we went to the quarterfinals. No, semifinals against Philly. What year was that? We went to this the conference finals against Philly.
2010?
Yeah, so
All the way back. Okay.
Yeah, that's a long. Tom
it's long.
Christopoulos,
No, but
Habs.
what we were missing then, because we had the talent and speed, but we didn't have any grit. We had no size, right? And that's why we lost against Philadelphia, because we beat the top teams like the Crosbys and the Ovechkin.
Halak.
Yes, but we had speed. We were able to beat the speed teams, but we were not able to beat the big teams. Now what I'm seeing on the ice is we have talent, we have speed, and God, we have size. And some of the size still have speed. Like I was watching yesterday's game and I haven't seen these big guys on the ice playing against Minnesota. I'm like, I've never seen this before. So imagine that in 2010, big chance we would have beat Philadelphia, right?
Anthony, what I don't want, and this is what I always want, I don't want to be outshot by 50 because this is known to be Montreal. Be outshot by 50 and win the game. I'm
not talking about the outshooting back then. I know we were.
You know how much I hated that. You're like, I hate.
No.
Use my language. You know how
it's still fun, Joey.
I can't. I'm
not saying I want that. I guess I started that conversation wrong. I'm not saying I want that, right? Like having a go to like Halak stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying I'm seeing right now on the ice is that speed and the size mix.
We do have a balance. We have much more of a balance.
A very good balance, and it's just gonna be fun to watch this team develop. And once we're there, once we become that contending team, if we still have that balance and that mix, like I've been saying, we're gonna have a scary team.
Well, to comment on that, I think Hughes might actually find the right balance because what Bergevin did is we got beat up by Boston, Philadelphia because we were too small. What does he do from being too small and skilled? We go to big, getting guys like
Douglas
Murray. Just nobody can skate anymore.
No, but that was Ottawa. When we lost to Ottawa.
Yes, you're actually right. And we got beat up by Ottawa. We signed all these guys to become physical, and then we're too slow.
And then we benched Murray for Boldier against Boston in the quarterfinals that we swept the rest of the games.
Exactly. It's like there was no balance. It's like we're completely small, getting beat up, and then we went too big, and we drafted Michael McCarron. We need to be smart about
that was one of the things of Bergevin's era. He was very reactive instead of proactive.
Exactly.
But I don't think we have to worry. I don't think we have to worry about that now with the management we have. I mean, we already see it. These guys are smart. But they know what they're doing.
Let's be fair to Bergevin. Like a lot of the prospects we're talking about all come from like the retool. Again, we'll use whatever language they use.
So thanks for giving credit to Bergevin because Joy does not want to give one.
No, I'll give him praise. I mean, he drafted. Caulfield fell on his lap.
It fell on Philly's lap. It fell on a lot of people's laps, and people skipped over him.
He drafted him. He traded for Suzuki. Like he did some good things, the reactive things with the contracts, the emotions.
He signed Jack. He drafted Gooley. Like this is still
bad with contracts. He was bad with contracts, good with trades and signing drafts, right? And he knew how to keep assets because even with some of those trades, he always said it in his press conferences. He does not want to get rid of his future. Like the year before when we had that $10 million salary or at the trade deadline, people would question, what are you doing? Why don't
we trade for a goalie? Why don't we trade for this?
And his response was always, I have good prospects waiting to come up and I'm not touching my assets.
Right.
And that was a smart thing he did. And now they're coming to shine.
What Angelo brought up, though, is the reactive part, which would just bother me about Bergevin. That's the part that showed his bad side. And it just I think it overcame a lot of the good he did because GMs always need to be more proactive and think long-term. And I don't know, maybe because I see it, not that I say I know everything about the Habs or like you guys do, but sometimes if I see something and then it happens, if I could see it, why couldn't he see it? But anyways, we don't know the back end. Like, I'll never get over, and this is what we'll see coming up, is him drafting Mayu, not because of the scandal. Yes, that's the thing that happened in Sweden. I get it. Not that part, but there were two goalies projected in the first round, and I can never get over Bergevin. I don't think he attempted for it. And what happened now, Carey Price is injured, and to me, we're kind of scrambling for a new number one goalie because we're not there yet, but it's something that he could have put in our prospect system to draft. So it just things like that I don't know. Maybe he could have seen, or maybe something happened, but it just never came about with him.
Well, look, Mayu got a pro contract this year, so this management sees
yes, it's
something
not
in him, you know.
Speaking of Mayu, it's the fact that it's unheard of to have two first round value goaltenders there, and Price's history, and I don't know, he just didn't act upon it. So it's just like, I just hope Mayu turns out great, and these goalies, I just don't want to regret it, because we're not right now. We need a goalie, right? This is one
Yeah,
thing we're
and so do like 25 other teams in the league. It's just
right.
it's not a goalie league. Goalies aren't good now.
But that's literally
that's the suck.
We're not, like Joey. I get, and we brought this up I think 2 episodes ago. Like, I get what you're saying, and you're right, but I think we're in an era where goalies could easily be found, because you don't need. I guess, okay, let me rephrase that. We were very spoiled to have a Carey Price. Okay, we were very spoiled, and we always depended on the goalie for many years, and we never had a team in front. But we only went so far every year because we had Price, not because of the talent in the front. Price is the only guy in Halak who brought us very far. The moment Price got injured or this, right away we crashed, right? So because we got so used to having the goalie who had the team on his shoulders, to now he's gone, we're all panicking like, oh shit, we have no goalie. But there's so many other teams out there that have talented teams with no goalie, and they've been living that. Look at Toronto.
Yeah.
Fucking amazing team on paper, but they have no goalie. And Colorado too last year, no goalie, but they still won with, you don't you just need a hot goalie at the end. So to me, if Mayu is projected to be, performs as he's projected to be, a top talent player, an elite player,
top four, not elite. He was 31st, 32nd overall.
But even top four, if he's a top four guy, I'd rather that than, again, because we're so spoiled with the goalie right now. I think I'm not that worried yet.
Anthony, well, if we get all that talent up front, and then we become the reverse, and then we're tied in the game 2-2 with 50 shots, and somebody comes down on Montebeau, flicks a 50-foot wrister that goes in, you know who I'm coming after.
Okay, Joey, that's where I got to draw the line, though. If we were depending on one man to save the whole team, if we get a roster full of players that are outstanding, or even on the better spectrum, let's be honest and clear. We can get by with a good, mediocre to good goaltender. I think there are a lot of teams that have proven over the course of history that you can get away with. You need good goaltending when it comes time for it. Yeah, you do, but you don't need an outstanding goaltender. You need to, like, if your goaltender can let in 3 or fewer goals in a game, in a playoff game, while your team's rolling, like, look at Chicago. They won with Niemi in nets. They were winning like
Carolina
game 6
against
to
us
5.
in 2008. Look at us in 2008 against Carolina. They beat Cam Ward. Their third string goalie was never played a game in the NHL, and he won the Stanley Cup. Like, you just need a hot street goalie.
And I don't want to use Toronto as an example, because Marner and Matthews, they disappear. They're pre-vacation. They're packing their bags, ready to go golfing when the playoffs start. They're not showing up. They're not putting up those points. So they're not scoring those 3-4 goals a game that they do all season. And that's Toronto's defense is also another relative issue, and it has been for years. Like, I don't like using them as examples, but they're Tampa Bay aside, because Vasilevsky has become the next generation Price. I think we can agree to that.
I was thrilled it.
Yeah, it's just Sturkin, he broke out a bit later, like Vasilevsky's going to have a much longer career.
Oh, for sure. I'm just saying in that realm, like, I think.
Yeah. Well, guys that can play games, because like right now, like if any of you guys do fantasy, like for goalies that are guaranteed to play 50, 60 games,
there's not many.
There's not many.
Yeah, that's true. Not true. I just I
know.
You want a goalie that you can trust and count on. But I'm just saying, if you put Jake Allen in front of behind the Colorado Avalanche of last year, they're still winning the cup.
Yeah. I agree 100%. And look at goalie prospects, how deceiving they can be. We have one in our system right now. It's Caden Primo, where he looks like an all-star in Laval. In the playoffs, he carries them crazy numbers, but then he comes up to the NHL and he's scared of his own shadow. And
Angelo,
until he makes the first 4 or 5 saves.
I don't know what it is about
Doesn't handle
Primo
the puck.
because I had high hopes with this guy, and I still do for some
But
reason.
look, he was good at every level. It just he hasn't made the jump yet. Goalies take long.
time.
But I'm not 100% sold on him. I'm just saying, like, this is
So
what
question, okay,
a goalie prospect is going to give you.
Question for you, Ange, because I had this question a while back. Do you think the problem with Primo is that we're not giving him enough ice time in the NHL level? I mean, look, if this is the year...
No, I think it was the opposite. I think last year he was like number 4 on the depth chart, assuming Price was supposed to start the season healthy, and he got thrown into games when he clearly wasn't ready. If anything, it hurt his development. He went back to Laval. He wasn't playing too good. Picked up a bit of steam at the end of the year. Had that little playoff run. Looked a bit better this year, but
that's, to me, how I see it is, if, again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but if this is the season that they just want to have fun and let the kids play and whatever happens, if that's their mindset this year to not contend and not make playoffs, then why did you even sign Montembeault or Primo? Like, just Allen. Like, give Primo the chance this year as a backup and let him play 40 games.
Can't lose Allen, I don't think.
It's because like I've had this conversation with a bunch of other people, and it's, if you want the team to develop, at least have that winning culture, and if you're losing games, like, it can't be 3-0 at the 5-minute mark of the game. And that's what it was. That's what it was last year. And like, even watching it, imagine on the ice, like, you're deflated. You're like, what the hell am I watching? Like, like Monty was absolute garbage at the beginning of last season. Even Allen, like, he's been solid with us for the beginning, but last season, look, everyone was garbage last year. Let's be honest. But at least even at the games early on this season, like even against Detroit, where we got completely annihilated, if it was, last year's Jake Allen and Nets and not this year's, it's a 5-0 game, and then you're not learning anything. At least it was tight for the majority of the game, and you get to play those important situations, and that's how you develop. That's how I feel you develop.
Yeah, if you have Primo this year, I call him the ultimate tanker, because that's really
yeah. But then you're still killing the kid that might still have a bit of potential.
Yes.
Look at Lindgren. He's found a backup role in the league, and he stole starts last year. These guys take long. Foucault got starts last year.
Washington, I remember he had that hot start when he came in. But it's true. It's true. Look, I've said Primo. I don't think he'll be the number one like people expect him to be.
No.
But if you want him to make it, if you're putting him, I would love it for the tank reasons. But I'm not the player on the ice, so.
See, for the tank reasons, I'd pick up a career minor leaguer over a young kid.
Exactly.
I would
like a Hamburglar like last year. Like, that was the perfect move. Just have a guy that can at least save pucks, so Primo could play in the minors instead of either sitting on the bench or getting destroyed on the ice. So
that's right.
It's a momentum killer. You're right. It's a confidence and momentum killer. I see that side of it, but I also see the side of experience. And I don't know. I mean, we've rushed so many young players before, and I guess I think that's what the issue is here. But I'm not sure if that's the issue with Primo or if it's the inexperience with Primo, because the guy has potential. Like, look how, like you said it before, Ange, like last year he killed it in the AHL. He killed in the playoffs. He was the Carey Price for Laval Rockets, and then you put him in the NHL and he's scared of his own shadow, like you said. So
even in the preseason, it's like, okay, he'll play solid, he'll make a couple of good saves, and then it's like, oh, he's covering the puck, it goes to a low blocker, and then it just bounces over his head and goes in. Or it squeaks in on the post. Like, these plays where they're not supposed to happen, but is it really your fault or not? But the fact that they happen often when you're in nets, it's a nerves thing. It's like a mental thing.
And Anthony,
these are goals that shouldn't be going in.
That's right. I don't know who said, if it was The Athletic or Eric Engels on Sportsnet. They said that they're going to locker room. They're having fun now. So it's not something, I think they found what they need, and I don't think they're gonna
Oh no,
change it anytime
But
soon.
you're going to see slowly as the season progresses, some of the forwards in Laval, they're going to be a bit more NHL ready. Then you're going to get rid of the Dandanov, potentially the Drouin, potentially the Monahan.
no. I
And
think
then these
Drouin
guys are
is.
going to get the ice time.
Yeah, I think now I'm done giving excuses and hope for Drouin. He's done. Like he's done. He's finished. I don't know. He's not. I don't know.
Might go
I
finish
don't
off his
know.
career in Europe. I think. I think the guy is just going to
He'll
take a
find
nice.
a team. He'll find
No,
a
he's
team.
going to find a team. He's
He'll
skilled
find a
enough.
team.
The reason we hate him so
I've-
much is because we're so like attached to that trade, which was horrible. And then we look at the number, his salary cap number, and then, majority of the time when he was healthy, he was playing at a 50-point pace, which
But
is like
that's
respectable.
but that's
But
why I don't fully hate Drouin. He's just like it's
He needs a
frustrating me
fresh
because
start.
I see the potential and I know when he's healthy and he has his mindset in the game and he wants to have fun, the guy can kill it. He's I know he could. So that's why I'm angry because is it because he's a lot of pressure in Montreal? Is he just because he doesn't want to play here anymore? He's mad at something or someone? I don't know. To me, that's the immaturity of this player. I think he's just because
nah,
talent wise,
remember when he wasn't getting the contract in Tampa, then you didn't want to go to the AHL. Like there was always like
I
a
think
little
that's his problem.
something going on with him, the mental game.
He needs a new scenery. To me, I think
Maybe
it's
he needs a new thing. He does things on the team that they're not the flashiest, but that I think that no one else does. Like he does those little one-touch passes in the neutral zone that keeps the rush going, or that little seam passes. Like no one other than Andrei Markov is going to make that pass across that he made to I think it was Caulfield on that game time goal a couple of games ago. Like
Yeah, because he does
there's
things.
there, and like on the power play now too, he's getting a bit more looks. He could distribute, and then he does that one soft play, and it's like there's
That's
He does
Drouin.
a lot of little things that he does a lot of little things that a regular fan, and I'm not here to insult our fan base, but people like us who analyze the game and see little details, we catch those things, and that's what I catch on a game to game basis.
Yeah.
And that's why it frustrates me to see that he doesn't perform the level that I think he can, because when you catch those little things that he does, that no one else sees, and then they just shit on him because they shit on him.
He just won't get credit for anything at
He
this
won't
point.
get credit for anything.
It's better for him not to be on the team. Like I like the guy, but just for himself
But that's the thing. I love
and
the
for
guy,
this.
and I know his potential, and he's just not giving it. So that's why I'm saying I'm done with him, because it's been 4 years now, 3 years that we're doing this podcast, and every big first fucking episode, I keep saying this is the year for Drouin. This is the year for Drouin. And every year I was like, okay, this is his contract year. Or Martin St. Louis is gonna help him perform. And then I'm not happy, So that's why I'm at that point where I'm fucking done giving this guy excuses. But when I analyze the game and I see him play, he has the potential. He's just, I guess what Joey said, new scenery. But then again, he's gonna go somewhere else and act the same way because he was there with the Tampa. He was great with Tampa, didn't like his salary, and then
you never know. His next team might be his last chance, so maybe he'll shape up. But I think here it's done because he could do a great plays, 10 great plays. He does that one bad play, it's over for him. I just think
he's another Galchenyuk.
Pretty much.
The third overall pick also.
That's right.
But I have one thing that kind of piques my interest with him too. I don't know if you guys saw him coming into training camp and everything. He looked out of shape, and he didn't play the first few games of the season either. I just wonder, and I'm saying it just like that. I wonder if the coaching staff was kind of frustrated because he didn't take the offseason as seriously as he should have. And I'm just wondering to see if there's going to be a progression on his part over the course of the season, because as rough as it has started, he still has been showing just slightly more every game.
It could be. It could be. He had a rough end of last season, right? He had some personal issues, right? So maybe he didn't get in shape as he should be. I hope he has the attitude to change it, because I don't think it's gonna fly with Marty. I don't think with St. Louis it's gonna fly at all, and it hasn't been. He's been, he hasn't played every game, so it's been getting a little better, maybe. But yeah, I don't know how to judge it. It's just he hasn't shown any. I don't know how to say it. Has he shown anything like mentally that he wants to do everything for this team? I don't know, and it's hard to say. It's really hard to say.
Look, at a certain point, I think the hustle's there. It's like he's trying, but he's not going to become a defensive wizard at 27 years old, 28, whatever. It's like even as a fan's expectation, like what do we expect from him? Like right now at this age, knowing what we know about him for as long as he's been on the team, like no one should be expecting that 90-point Drouin superstar that Tampa drafted. More realistic, you still want him in, I'll say 40 to 55-point range, as long as he gets the passes, he controls a power play. But it's like the expectations of Drouin, like he's not going to battle in the corners. He's not going to go battle in the net like Gallagher taking a beating. Like he's going to play on the outside. He's going to do those nifty passes, those nifty plays. Every now and then you'll get a deke. And if he puts up the points or not, well, that's
maybe
less, if he wants to get paid or not.
Right. And maybe less as the years go on because he hasn't shown as much as he should. Generally, I think the fans always just expect more than what he brings. They just generally expect it.
But is it realistic what they expect? That's like at this point, it's like you have to know he's not going to be that superstar. It's not in him.
So. I don't think I don't think they're expecting him to be a superstar, but I still don't think they're realistically expecting what he's doing now. I don't think they do. I think I'm saying general fan base, maybe the ones.
No, but I'm guilty. I'm one of those guilty ones. I do have high expectations for this guy because I've been waiting since the day that they signed him. We lost Sergachev for him. I was at that time. I wasn't actually disappointed. I was disappointed, yes, because I was scared of that whole,
playing at center.
But then again, when Drouin came, I'm like, okay, you know what? I think we got that generational French player that this city wants, right? And then I always had high hopes because of that. And that was, again, every year I expect him to. I have that high expectation, like you said, Joe. I think I'm one of those fans that have too much. My expectation for him is too high, but maybe what he's doing now is his limit, and I should accept it.
But Anthony, talking about those expectations, and then we got to move on from Drouin because if he's not going to be a part of the future of the team, why is he going to be the future of our conversation? But when we're setting expectations on this player, I think what we're all describing is he's a peripheral player. I think all of us can mutually agree we're not expecting him to put up goals, but I guess expectations as fans, and these are reasonable. This guy should be able to set up anywhere between 1 to 3 decent to good scoring chances in a game through passing. Can we agree with that?
He does, because when you watch the highlight packages after the game, there's at least 2-3 plays where it comes off Drouin's stick. You're just passing it to a player that's not going to bury it. That's the problem, especially if you're playing much lower in this lineup. There's not a lot of talent there.
So then, is he in fact meeting expectations, or Anthony?
For me, I think he what I see, especially the first time he got healthy scratch, after his first little stretch. But whatever, I really don't mind the scratching because you have these vets, you have these players, put them in rotation, especially that you're trying to trade some of them. So I don't mind that they're switching these guys in and out, but.
He's meeting our expectations. I don't think he's meeting what the status was or what it was supposed to be. He's meeting it. He's half of what everyone expected him to be when he got drafted.
That's it. He's meeting the expectations now because, like I said, when you analyze the game and you see the game, he's doing what he needs to do, and he's causing he's creating those chances. But I think we all had that when we signed him years ago. We all said, "Shit, this guy is our number one center. He's coming into the team. He's going to be the French center. He's going to be the guy, a French top player of the team." I think that's what it is, and I think we're still there. And I think I just need to drop it and just accept what he is. Because again, I do not hate the guy. I do not personally. I actually like Drouin. I just expected more. On that note, let's move on. We're gonna wrap it up soon. So tomorrow, to the fans listening, tomorrow morning, tonight's game at 8 p.m. Against the Jets. We're 5-5, 6th in the Atlantic, and the Jets are 5-3-1, 2nd in the Central. What do you guys want to see tonight? And don't say you want to see them lose, Joey. We know, but what else? What now we're going into game 11. Like, what do you guys want to see
I think
differently?
Motambo's playing tomorrow.
Yes.
So he's supposed to be starting. I'd like a nice 5-4 loss with a hat trick from Caulfield, goal from Slavkovsky, and 4 assists from Suzuki to rack up the points. No, but seriously, continue how they're playing, like St. Louis and Minnesota. Like, don't get outplayed again on the road. Like, be impressive. They were impressive. You know, they played Buffalo, came on Tambo, played well, but against St. Louis and Minnesota, I don't think they lost because of goaltending, really. I think like it finally, you know what I mean? Like, they didn't get like outshot by so much. They actually played like well, and it wasn't goaltending keeping in the game. It was a team effort. Just continue that going forward. Have the young players playing well, and I want to see them put up points with a loss. Unfortunately for me, but I want to see the young players continue to put up points, and I'm interested to see if Caulfield can keep up in the scoring race.
Same thing. I want Caulfield and Suzuki to keep putting points, but what I really want to see, to be honest, is Slav. Like, I want him to start. Like, he's playing very well. He's progressing. He's a lot better now than how he started the season. But now I want to see that puck go in the net more for him. Like, I really want him.
I think you'll see him more on the power play end because he's on the fourth line still, and like Angelo said, right, it's you're distributing the puck or you're making plays. It's who you're giving it to. I don't expect him to have this offensive dynamite game playing on the fourth line. Not because of him. It's just that's how it is.
Yeah, no, for sure. I get it. He has to move up the ladder first, but I just want him to. I'm not saying it tomorrow, but I just want to see him put more points.
But you do notice he's played better since he's been off Gallagher's line. Just saying.
Chris and Ange, what do you want to see?
I'd like to see a much higher time on ice for Slavkovsky. Funny enough, I just a more aggressive game on his part, more time on ice, more shots to the net, and obviously high points.
Okay,
Couldn't ask for more. And I want to see Gooley's time on ice really, really. Like, I'd like to see him play like a 25, 26-minute night. Seriously.
Sorry, before Ange, you say what you have to say. Chris, you said something that it's been bothering me so much when I watch these games. Slav is not using his size to his advantage. He's not. I know he's probably still getting there and trying to find his game in the NHL, but that guy is full of talent, speed, and he has the size, but he's not using the size. Yesterday, there was one moment he was going towards the boards on the left side. I don't know whatever which period it was this. Anyways, all this to say, he put his stick out. Like, use your body.
Yeah.
Like, use your body. You have the size. Don't be scared to use it. I think he's scared to use his size. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I just don't see him using his size.
I think he got a lot of hard knocks so far as the season goes on. It's like, it feels like Suzuki 2 years ago, or once a game, you're just getting put on your ass. But he's going to get used to it. That's why I don't think, like, you don't want his ice time to be high. I think 14 and a half minutes should be the plateau right now, because I don't think he's physically, even though he's big, he doesn't have that like muscular endurance to play a full game with the physicality, because it obviously takes a lot more energy with the physicality. And I don't say he's soft, like he's not using his body as much, but he does have a really strong stick. Like, there's times where he's like, he stick lifts, or he'll have a takeaway, and you're actually impressed. You're like, oh, he actually got to there, like almost like Doc in a sense. So he has a very long reach. Exactly.
Yeah, he has a very long reach, and I feel like that's all he's using is the reach more than the size. Like, there was a moment yesterday at the boards, and I thought he was going to get in, but then all you saw was a stick being let out, and he wasn't using the body. But again, that, like you said, he's probably not physically ready yet. And
and it's a little scary trend. He falls on his ass a lot on his own, kind of like another high draft pick we've had recently.
Oh no,
Mr.
Yeah,
Mr. Kokanyemi.
Yeah, no, but balance does take time, though. I'll give.
Of course. I'm just saying, like.
But Kokanyemi, it just
we were 3 seasons thinking, Kokanyemi's just got to get stronger on those skates, and never happened. He's playing a lot of minutes in Carolina now. He's playing like 18, 19 minutes a night, but hasn't really produced. But
going back, I just want to go back to a little thing about Slavkovsky on that matter. I said aggressiveness. the guy is always laughing, smiling, cracking jokes. Like we love that, but on the ice, they need to like cage him for a few hours before the game. Maybe like zap him a little bit, get him a little bit riled up, get him a little bit frustrated. I think you'll get a lot more physical
That the
production out of him if they do.
yeah the
I'm
leadership
joking.
the leadership in the room have to take care of that because his attitude's a bit. When
Too
when he scored his
happy.
goal and he was yelling in the guy's face, like someone on the bench must have talked to him, say you can't do that, like
Yeah, he'll learn.
like yeah, we have Jack Eye, but he's not gonna be there on the ice the whole game.
I just got a PTSD moment when Chris just said he's always smiling. Didn't we say that about KK when he first started? The guy had that smile and he was always smiling. And just like when you said that, I'm like, oh no, please, not another KK. But
It's a European laissez-faire attitude. Happy doesn't always work.
true. Guys, wait, one more question before we wrap it up. I don't think this question has been asked in our podcast yet. If it was, shoot me now, please, because I probably wasn't paying attention, which I always do. But anyways, the retro jerseys. What do you guys think of it? We haven't spoken about it. What do you guys think?
I don't like them personally. I don't know.
No?
I don't.
Lost opportunity. There's no red. Where the hell if they just added the red, like red touches?
It
would've
was
been
as a
so much
it was a
nicer.
prototype. The red on the sleeves was there first, and then they removed it.
Already 10 times better with the prototype. I don't understand their logic. We're not the Leafs. More red, less blue.
Yeah, but that's the whole reverse. It has to be the opposite, right? So I don't mind it. I love that color. Like it's similar to the Penguins third jerseys that they used to have. Like I love those jerseys. So it's Expos blue. It's a bit of homage. It's very simple. It's cookie cutter, but it's going to be for a couple of games. It's the sell to the kids. Where guys hate to break it to you, but we're not the target market for those things.
No, we're not.
But
you know what? Yeah, you said it. It's for the kids because, to be honest, when they did this retro jersey, it bothered me at first because, to me, compared to the other teams in the league, to me the Habs logo and jersey is history. It's historic. There's a meaning behind it. You don't touch that. You don't touch things like that, And when you start making changes, I'm like, no, why, But when I keep looking at that jersey, there's something about it. Like, I guess you said it, Ange, the Expos feel, and like I miss the Expos, and I guess that's why it's starting to grow on me. But again, this is something for the kids. It's for the young generation to spend the money. We're not going to be the ones running to the store and buying it. It's more the young generation that's going to go buy that jersey.
Just like Chris loves the RBC patch.
Yeah.
Okay. End the episode.
No,
right
okay,
now.
But I'm noticing
I'm
noticing all the teams are doing that right now. All the home jerseys have.
But that's what it is. Everyone's gonna do it.
It's a marketing thing now.
It's something to get mad at for a week, and like, what are you gonna do? In about a year or two's time,
Chris is freaking out. His
every
eyes
team's gonna do it.
How did we put it on our home jerseys and not our away jerseys? How? At least at home, the beautiful red, like popping out on the ice.
But that's what I'm saying. By next year, it's gonna be on the away jersey. It's gonna be on the practice jersey. It's gonna be on the T-shirt you buy at the Sports Expert. It's gonna be everywhere.
We're in the generation of the league is.
Chris, it shows you haven't watched much soccer because
even as fans, we want the cap to go up. These are revenue drivers to get the cap up to make more super teams. It's going to be better for the sport
Chris,
overall.
if you tell me we have the ugliest jerseys for the rest of the NHL history, but we're going to be the best team every time we wear them, bring me the ugliest jerseys. I don't care.
Yeah, as long as they don't touch the logo. That's the icon is the logo.
Yeah.
The colors, the design has changed over the years. The logos remained largely intact. I think that's the history. It comes more from the logo. Because remember, I forget which year, those Barber jerseys, like remember the centennial year, like all those jerseys that we used to have, they broke that red, bleu, blanc, rouge mold like many, many times.
And we're the only ones kind of with retro jerseys with not different logos because it's that iconic. We don't use another logo. Every other retro jerseys that other people have their old logos of the 80s, 90s, and before.
Yeah, even the Leafs, they changed the leaf a bit, like.
We're the only ones that keep none touched. So as long as we have that,
It's the league is growing. It's they want more marketing, more revenue. Look, those video ads that we're seeing, fucking horrible. It bothers me so much because there's moments where I think my TV is fucking glitching, but it's not that my TV. It's a stupid video advertising. But this is what it is. We're in an era where revenue has to go up, and they're gonna market the shit out of everything. So we're gonna see the logos and patches everywhere going forward, Chris.
And just watch a football game and are you disappointed at the freaking graphics that are coming at you from every angle? State Farm, and no one complains.
Yeah.
Soccer, soccer, the logo, you don't even know it. It's the sponsor. It's the biggest thing on the jersey.
Chris, you want that cap to go up? You know what? This is the way. We need Hughes to have more cap room. Like the guy's dying for more cap. You want it to go up? This is the way.
But stick the logo on their ass, stick another logo on their helmet, get it off
RBC wants it right in the front to show everybody. That's
every face off, every headshot.
Punch RBC right in the front.
On that note, there was a moment I'm gonna tell Simon as a blooper reel. Chris's eyes were rolling at one point. Angelo was speaking about RBC, Chris going like this. His eyes, no joke, at one point rolled back because he wanted to lose his mind. That was a good moment, guys. Good episodes. Angelo, thanks for coming.
It was very fun, guys. Thanks for having me again. Hopefully I come back soon.
Of course, you're always welcome to be on the show. It was nice to hear your perspective on this, and very disappointed that you agreed with Joey about Gallagher. I needed someone else to attack Gallagher, but wrong guy for this episode to attack Gallagher. But yeah, no, thanks for coming on the show. I hope you enjoyed being here, but you're always welcome. Guys, to all the listeners out there, once again, thanks for listening to us. Please leave an honest rating on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. We want to hear your thoughts. It's only going to make us better. Listen to us on any podcast platform. Watch our beautiful faces on YouTube now. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We have a lot of good content for you guys. And that's it. Until next time, bye now.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Good night.
Ciao, guys.